35 men covered in prison tattoos froze when the warehouse door burst open. Marcus Stone Rodriguez, with scars from 15 years in San Quentin marking every muscle, slowly raised his hands as the 9-year-old girl pointed a shaking revolver at the group. Her clothes were torn, feet bare and bleeding, mascara running down her face, mixing with dirt and tears. "Which one of you is my father?" she screamed, her voice breaking. The gun wavered in her small hands, fingered dangerously close to the trigger. But what none of them knew was that girl, Sofia Martinez, had just escaped from the most dangerous child trafficking ring in Los Angeles. And the weapon she held wasn't loaded. What happened in the next 7 minutes changed not just her life, but transformed an entire neighborhood and proved that monsters can become guardians. This is the story of how the most violent past can forge the most protective present. Can you imagine that those with the darkest history can have the most protective hearts? That's exactly what happened with Marcus and his brotherhood. And what he discovered that day completely changed everything. You're going to understand why this story shocked the entire country. So subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and stay with me until the end. Because what happened in this story, nobody was prepared to see. And you can be sure, you'll never look at a person by their past the same way again. 2 hours before that moment, Sofia was locked in a basement in East Los Angeles. For 3 months, she had been trapped there after being taken from a bus stop 2 blocks from her school. The man who took her, Vincent Sharp, 42 years old, real estate developer, respected in the community, member of the neighborhood council, had a secret. His luxury house on Wilshire Boulevard hid a nightmare in the basement. 5 other children had passed through there. Sofia was the 6th. That afternoon, while Vincent was at a business meeting, Sofia managed to break the lock using a nail she had hidden for weeks. She ran, barefoot through alleys, hiding behind dumpsters, her heart pounding so hard she thought it would explode. She had tried to ask for help before. A neighbor ignored her screams. A security guard didn't believe her story. The police said they needed concrete evidence to investigate an upstanding citizen. The system had failed in every way a system can fail. Running through the streets, Sofia heard a group of men talking on a corner. "They say there are some dangerous guys who help when nobody else does," said an old woman sitting on her porch. "They used to be criminals, but now they're different. They're ex-convicts. But they say they protect children." Sofia hesitated. Could she trust men who had been on the wrong side of the law? But she had nowhere else to go. She followed the directions to a converted warehouse on East 7th Street. The Second Chance Brotherhood building was in a rough area, but the facade was clean. A sign read, "Second Chance Brotherhood, your past doesn't define your future." When Sofia entered, 35 men stopped what they were doing. Each had a story written on their body. Tattoos from dark places, scars from violence, but eyes that showed redemption. The smell of fresh coffee mixed with honest sweat, the sound of woodworking tools, afternoon sunlight filtering through high windows. Marcus stood up from his workbench, 43 years old, 6'2", 220 pounds, his arms covered in tattoos that told 15 years in prison. The covered-up gang symbols showed transformation, but his voice when he spoke was surprisingly gentle. "Little one, what brings you here?" Sofia trembled, eyes wide, voice failing. That's when she saw the revolver on a nearby table used for security training. In a moment of pure desperation and rage, she grabbed it and pointed it at everyone. "One of you has to be my father. My mother said my father was a prisoner." "Which one of you abandoned me?" The silence that filled the warehouse was the kind that comes before a storm. Marcus, the eldest of the group with 17 years served for armed robbery, closed his eyes. He had seen weapons pointed at him before, but never by a child so desperate. "Easy, Sofia," he said softly, having seen her name on a missing child poster. "Nobody here is going to hurt you. And that gun, it's not loaded. We keep it for training. You're safe now." Carlos, Professor Mendoza, tattoos on his neck telling the story of his old gang, approached slowly. "Sofia, you came to the right place. We're not what we were, but we still know how to protect those who need it." His voice was firm but kind. "How did you know to come here?" Sophia lowered the weapon, her body collapsing as the adrenaline faded. I heard you help children, that you protect when nobody else does." Marcus knelt to her level. "Tell us what happened. Everything. We're listening." And Sophia told them about Vincent, about the basement, about the 3 months of horror, about the screams nobody heard, about the system that did nothing. She showed them bruises that were evidence, scars that told stories. And in that moment, the 35 men in that warehouse made a silent promise. 35 men who had paid their debt to society. 35 men who knew what it was to be judged without a second chance. 35 men who had chosen to use their dark knowledge for good. Marcus looked at Diego Tech Ruiz, who had served 12 years for cyber fraud. Now, his fingers flew across a keyboard with the same speed, but for a different purpose. "I'm in Vincent Sharp's system," Diego said, turning his laptop. "He has offshore accounts, hidden transactions, a pattern of travel to Southeast Asia, multiple red flags. Is this legal?" Sophia asked from the couch where they had wrapped her in a blanket. Diego smiled tiredly. "Everything I'm doing is in public databases. I just know where to look because I used to know where to hide." Tommy Ghost Chen, with a covered-up gang tattoo, knew every alley in East LA. "Sharp buys security equipment from a supplier I know. Guy owes me. I didn't rat him out when I got arrested. I'll talk to him. Not as criminals, as fathers protecting a daughter." For 3 days, the Brotherhood worked. They didn't break laws. They didn't use violence. But they used every skill they had learned in that dark life, now channeled for protection. Former hackers traced digital footprints. Former gang members knew who to talk to in the streets. Former thieves understood security systems and found the weaknesses. The knowledge that had once destroyed lives now saved them. Marcus looked at a photo on the wall. His own daughter, now 23, who he hadn't seen grow up because of his choices 15 years ago. He had been 25 when he was arrested for armed robbery. 15 years later, he had learned that mistakes don't define you forever. But the choice to change must be made every single day. "Never again," he had sworn to himself the day he got out. "Never again will I use my strength for wrong, only to protect." On the 4th day, they had everything. Videos of Vincent entering and leaving his house at suspicious hours. Testimonies from neighbors who had noticed but said nothing. Financial records showing payments to suspicious individuals. And Sophia's testimony, recorded with her permission, clear and devastating. "This is enough for the DA," said James Lawyer Washington, a former white-collar criminal who had studied law in prison. "But first, he needs to know he's been caught." They tried the legal route first. Marcus and Sophia went to the police station. The detective looked at the papers with clear disinterest. "Look, I understand your concern, but this requires an investigation. Besides," he looked at Marcus, "you have a criminal record. Your testimony complicates things legally." Marcus felt the old rage rising, the same rage that had put him in prison. But he breathed. "Sir, I paid my debt. 15 years. Today I run a legitimate nonprofit, pay my taxes, help 50 people in our program. My past shouldn't, but it does invalidate your testimony in many cases. I'm sorry." When Marcus returned and told the group, the silence was heavy. But Carlos, the oldest, spoke wisdom. "The system sees us this way, but we know who we are, and that's why we'll do it differently. We won't break the law. We'll make it ashamed it failed." The confrontation was scheduled for noon on Saturday at Pershing Square, downtown Los Angeles. 35 men arrived in vans. Each wore a Second Chance Brotherhood t-shirt, simple but dignified. No weapons, no violence planned, just presence and evidence. When Vincent Sharp arrived for what he thought was a business meeting, he saw them. 35 men, each carrying visible history, specific tattoos, scars, physical details, but also carrying hope. Marcus approached. The others formed a circle, not aggressive, but imposing. "Vincent Sharp," Marcus said, his voice calm but loaded with controlled emotion. "My name is Marcus Rodriguez. I served 15 years for armed robbery. I paid my debt, I changed my life." He paused. "You, on the other hand, are committing crimes against children, and you think you'll get away with it because you're a respected businessman." Vincent tried to threaten, to deny, to leave, but 35 hands, all marked by their past, held him without hurting. "No," Marcus said, "we're not that anymore, but you're going to learn what consequence means." At that moment, police cars arrived, not because the Brotherhood called them, but because the media did, because Diego had sent the evidence to every news station in the city, because the community was watching, because this time, the system couldn't ignore it. Vincent Sharp was arrested that day. The evidence was overwhelming. 4 other victims were found. The investigation expanded to a network of trafficking. He was sentenced to 40 years without parole. And Sophia? Sophia was placed with her maternal grandmother, who had been searching for her desperately. But the story didn't end there. Marcus discovered something that changed everything. While helping Sophia organize her things, she found an old photograph. "Marcus," she called with a strange voice. "Can you come here?" Marcus took the photo. His face went pale. "Where did you get this?" "It was my mother's. She kept it and said something I never understood." Marcus sat down heavily. His hands trembled. "This man in the photo is me, 20 years ago, before the crime, before everything." The woman next to him in the photo was someone he had loved deeply before prison, someone he had asked to forget him because he thought he didn't deserve her love. "And this woman," Sophia held up another photo, "is my mother." The math was simple and devastating. Sophia's mother had been pregnant when Marcus went to prison. He had never known. She had honored his request to forget him, raising Sophia alone until she died in a car accident 2 years ago, leaving Sophia in the system that then failed her. Marcus was Sophia's father. He had saved his daughter without knowing she was his. "I didn't know," Marcus whispered. "When I went to prison, she was pregnant and never told me because I asked her to move on." Sophia began to cry. "You saved me without knowing I was yours." "No," Marcus corrected, hugging Sophia. "I saved you because it's right. But now I'll protect you because you're my daughter. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life being the father I should have been." After the rescue and the revelation, something incredible happened. The community that had once feared these ex-convicts began to see them differently. Roberto Andrade, 52, owner of a medium-sized construction company whose father had been imprisoned when he was a child, offered jobs to 5 Brotherhood, members with signed contracts. "The past doesn't define anyone. Opportunity defines," he said. His company would eventually employ 30 ex-convicts with 0 recidivism. The Second Chance Brotherhood officially became a non-profit. 1 year after Sophia's rescue, they had helped 83 people reintegrate into society. Their recidivism rate was 5% compared to California's 70% average. They had partnerships with 12 companies offering real jobs. They had prevented 47 young people from entering gangs. The warehouse was now a full community center with classrooms, a dining hall, psychological counseling, and dormitories for those with nowhere to go. 16-year-old Miguel Torres, who had been about to join a gang, became one of their success stories. "I was going to be a statistic," he said at the center's first anniversary celebration. "Dead or in prison by 18. But these men showed me that the easy path leads to the hard life, and the hard path leads to the good life." He was now in community college studying social work, planning to become a counselor. Vincent Sharp remained in prison. Marcus visited him once 2 years later. Not to gloat, but to offer something unexpected. "When you get out, if you truly change, if you do the work, the Second Chance Brotherhood will be here. Not for friendship, but for accountability and a chance." Vincent broke down. "Why?" "Because someone did that for me. And because I remember the human. Being you could choose to become. That person still exists inside you." Sophia, now 12 years old, lived with Marcus and her grandmother. She attended a good school, was in therapy processing her trauma, and had become an advocate for missing children. She spoke at schools about recognizing danger and seeking help. She was healing slowly but surely, surrounded by 35 uncles who would die before letting anything happen to her again. The project's motto, painted in large letters in the Center, read. Your past is a fact, not a fate. Your present is a choice, not a sentence. Your future is a possibility, not a punishment. Every year on the anniversary of Sophia's rescue, they planted a tree in the community garden they had created on a vacant lot. 30 trees now grew there, each representing a life transformed. Looking back at that day when a 9-year-old girl pointed an empty gun at 35 ex-convicts asking for her father, Marcus understood something profound. The universe had given him a second chance not just to redeem himself, but to be the father he never got to be. His criminal past had given him the skills to find and save his daughter. His transformed present gave him the wisdom to raise her right. His future was dedicated to making sure other children never had to point guns asking for parents who should have been there. This story isn't just about an ex-convict saving a child. It's about understanding that the human capacity for change is infinite if we choose it every single day. That society's job isn't just to punish, but to allow transformation. That the most broken people, when they heal, often become the most powerful healers. That fathers aren't just biological. They're the men who show up, protect, guide, and love. If this story touched your heart, leave a like now and answer me in the comments. Do you believe people can truly change? Write yes or no and tell me why. And tell me, from what city are you watching? I want to see how far Marcus and Sophia's story is reaching. Right here, watching from your city. If you love stories that show the human side of people, that show real redemption, that aren't afraid to talk about real themes, subscribe now and turn on the bell so you don't miss any story that will move you and make you see the world differently. And look, the Second Chance Brotherhood continues operating and accepting donations and volunteers. Are you crying? Normal. I cried too. Stories like this remind us that past mistakes don't define our future choices. Write in the comments, redemption is possible. If you believe in it, changed my view if this story transformed you, or I know someone like this if you have a similar story. From the deepest pit, you can still see stars, and stars guide upward, always. Remember, the past is a document, not a destiny. Judge less. Understand more. Everyone has a story. Not everyone gets a chance to rewrite it, but when they do, miracles happen. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.